Today we are going to review how to round numbers. So in this example, a record was set when 569,069 people jumped up and down for 1 minute. About how many people set this record? Round 569,069 to the nearest 100,000. So on all of these problems, it's going to tell you what place to round it to. And in this case, it wants us to round this to the nearest 100,000. So I'm going to underline that. Nearest 100,000. So step one is underline. This says circle, but in class, we usually underline the digits. So I'm going to change that to underline. Underline the digit in the place needed to be rounded. So we have to round this to the nearest 100,000. So we're going to find the digit in the 100,000s place, which in this case is going to be this 5 right here. So I'm going to underline the 5. Underline the digit to the right of the place. So in class, we did not underline it. We actually drew an arrow. So we're going to draw an arrow to the one to the right of the place, which is going to be in the 10,000s. So we drew an arrow to that 6 right there. If the underlined digit, or if the digit that we're pointing to, is 4 or less, do not change it. And if it's 5 or more, add 1 more to the one that's underlined. So remember the rhyme that we had, 5 or more, add 1 more, 5 or less, ignore it. I left a picture of a rhyme for you to remember on the seesaw slides. But basically, if this number that we're pointing to is 5 or more, we add 1 more. And then if it's 4 or less, we just leave it alone. We don't change it. So in this case, this 6 is 5 or more. So we are going to end up changing this 5 to a 6. We're going to add 1 more. So this 5 becomes a 6. And then everything after that underlined digit that we either changed or didn't change becomes a 0. So every other digit here is going to be a 0. So when we round 569,069 to the nearest 100,000, it's about 600,000. So about 600,000 people set this record. And if you look at a number line here, it kind of shows you that when we plot 569,069 on a number line, it is closer to this 600,000 than it is to this 500,000. So we can see it both ways. It's closer on the number line, and also when we follow all the steps of rounding, it became 600,000. So to do these, your work is going to look similar to this today. So whenever you see this is the number that you have to round, and then this is the place that you need to round it to. So we're going to round 2,221 to the nearest 1,000. So step 1, underline the digit in the thousands place. So this 2, thousands place. The next step is to look at the number or the digit to the right of the underlined one. And to do that, we just draw an arrow to the next number. And then we see, is that number that is being pointed to 5 or more or 4 or less? In this case, 2 is less than 5, so we are not going to change this 2, the underlined 2. That 2 is going to stay the same. So we're going to put a 2 there. And then everything else after that underlined one is going to be a 0. So 2,221 rounded to the nearest 1,000 is 2,000. All right, number 2 is 78,214, and we're going to round it to the nearest 10,000. Again, start with underlining the digit in the 10,000s place. In this case, this is 7. Look next door to that 8. That 8 is 5 or above, so we're going to add 1 more to this 7. So that underline, you're always either going to change or leave it alone, but you're only going to change that underlined digit. So that 7 is actually going to become an 8, and then everything after is going to become a 0. So 78,214 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 80,000. Last one, 581,203 rounded to the nearest 100,000. So first you underline the digit in this place, which is the 5. Look next door. That 8 is 5 or above, so we are going to give it a shove, and we're going to change that 5 to a 6, and then everything after is going to become a 0. So 581,203 rounded to the nearest 100,000 becomes 600,000. On some problems, I know you don't have your book, but you will have these problems. 4 through 11, you're just going to do the exact same thing that I just did. So you're going to take this number and round it to the place that it gives you. On 12 through 17, they have already rounded the number for you. You have to figure out which place they rounded it to. So let's do number 12 together. 456,750 rounded to a certain place becomes 460,000. Well, I know that everything after the digit that I change becomes a 0. So I'm going to look for starting at the ones place, I'm going to look for the first non-0, the number that is not a 0. And that's this 6 right here. So if I look at this 6, it looks like this number could have been rounded to the nearest 10,000. But I'm going to go over to the original number just to double check. So if I round this number to the nearest 10,000, I underline that 5 since that is in the 10,000s place. I look next door to that 6 and I see that it is 5 or above. So 456,000 would round to 460,000. So that checks out. So number 12 was rounded to the 10,000 place, or to the nearest 10,000. That's a good way to double check yourself. So look for the digit that is the not 0, the first one that you see coming from the ones place, and then just double check it to make sure that it is correct. The reason that 4 stayed the same was that since this number has has digits in a bigger place value than the 10,000s, everything higher than that would have stayed the same. So that is how you do 12 through 17. Good luck today.